yeah, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing out there? Welcome to Intergalactic Interviews. This is episode 83, I believe.
83.
Yes? 83? Thank you. 83, and our guests are pretty illustrious. But before we get to that, I think we have some very, very important news we have to share with you. Something very special. If you find yourself in Vancouver or the Lower Mainland, tell you what, if you find yourself even making some travel plans coming out to the West Coast, you want to do something really cool, something we really enjoy here, a really cool offer is isolation tanks. And you know who has the best isolation tanks in that area? That would be Floathouse. Floathouse.ca. Some of the greatest experiences you could possibly get in isolation tanks. You need to seriously check it out. It's such a tranquil, calming, relaxing time. It's so cool. The thing I like about it myself personally is that you get your own personal float tank room. So you get your own room. It's private. You get your own house code. It's towel service. It's super, super kind. Everyone here is really, really nice, super knowledgeable. My favorite part about it is that it's like a spa for your mind, really, is the best way to explain it. It's so nice and relaxing. And you know what? It's really well documented out there. It's for everyone, like every type, every walk of life, everything you could possibly think of. And you know what? I'm trying really hard here to make this sound as awesome as I can because...
You know what? I'm thinking you should be doing our advertisements for us. That's pretty good.
Well, I appreciate that because our guests here today actually own Floathouse, and I mean that makes sense that we're trying to get this going here.
It was better than the one we do usually.
Is it better?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you guys, that's praise from Caesar right there. I could hand it out. But yeah, you guys want to check out floathouse.ca. We have a great podcast promo going on right now. If you want to book a float and you want to get yourself 20% off your next float, by all means, come in and use the podcast promo II podcast. That's lowercase I podcast. It's not nautical. It's not II. It's not like saluting. Yeah, it's nothing like that. It's II podcast, and it's a great deal. So check it out, floathouse.ca. Super good people, super awesome times. And speaking of super good people, we're here with none other than the mighty, the fantastic, the illustrious Zaremba Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Andy and Mike.
What is happening, Intergalactic Podcast ease?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah, you guys are rad. Thank you very much for giving us some time today.
Definitely.
Well, you guys are also rad.
Well, I mean, try. We got some moments.
You have your moments of radness.
Pass around the pleasantries. Ready to start, and we'll get this out of the way. The libations.
Yeah, we got some good times going on. You guys actually have some cool stuff coming up. You guys have a speaker series you got going on. Let me just make sure I got all the details right before I start chatting about it. I'm not as well versed as I am with the Floathouse material, so I can't just wing it.
This is a one of a kind so far. It's the first one we're doing. So
okay, so this is the Vancouver Real Speaker Series presents Philip McKernan. All right, now who's Philip McKernan? Why should people come check him out?
Philip McKernan is a self-help guru, for lack of a better way of saying it. He's very unique. He's going to look at your life and he's going to help you get really, really honest with it, and that's what he's all about. And we're going to be having the event on April 14th.
April 14th.
Nice. The Beaumont.
At the Beaumont.
Yeah, and
you guys are classy.
He is, man. He's one of a kind. It's going to be a workshop, so it's going to be
like interactive.
Interactive. Yeah, essentially. And he's going to go and say his little spiel, and then he's going to get the audience involved and see what kind of nuggets he can draw out of them. Right.
Okay.
And he's really good at kind of extracting people's truth, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Like individually, or like on a mass scale, like a general scale.
I think you could do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw him speak last year at the Man Talks Intensive, and he really, in my opinion, stole the show. There was like 4 or 5 speakers that day, and he was the final one, and they ended with a bang with him. And he really inspired me. He really kind of brought to life, or brought to my awareness, just how much our conditionings from maybe our parents or society, these cultural norms influence what our goals are and why we do things.
Yeah.
And getting into that why a little bit, and it really kind of it really inspired me. And like, I'm not saying that facetiously at all. It was pretty awesome. So we're super pumped to have him come and do the first ever Vancouver Real Speaker Series next week, April 14th.
The inaugural.
Cool. And part of our motivation is to kind of take what we do at Vancouver Real and make it into a live event. Because a lot of people, you have this kind of digital relationship with people who listen to your podcast.
That's right, yeah.
And we want to bring that and make it physical. So we can actually see the people that come listen to us on a regular basis and actually host an event and build
Engage.
real relationships with them.
Yeah, totally. Because, a handshake and a story goes a long way. It really it gives you a face to a name and a voice. And, you guys also have a video going on with your show as well. We just debuted that this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We
Nice.
finally started doing full episodes up on YouTube. And
Congrats.
Do you guys upload them to Facebook?
we kind of do what you guys do with the trailer.
Yeah.
Kind of jacked that idea.
No, it's
That's a good idea,
man.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
I was like, these guys are doing something awesome here.
Yeah.
Let's,
It's such a good way to visually present it.
yeah,
And-
we
and
do
face-
like little,
Facebook is really gearing itself towards video content.
That's right.
So it's like if you go on your newsfeed, like probably half it, maybe more, 70% is videos now.
That's true. You know what? And all of the exit data for the videos, it seems like almost, I'd say the majority of it comes from platforms that are not Facebook. And when I'm talking about YouTube, because it's like they just suppress the YouTube algorithm just all the way down. Like
All of that. And they're going to do that with everything.
That's
actually.
right.
for sure.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And I can totally understand that. Like, rightfully so. They have their own video platform and whatnot. But that's why we kind of used like little 5, 6, 7, 8-minute teasers of like, hey, here's a cool segment. And then, for a while, actually, since we've come here and we started incorporating video, the video component of the show has been outdrawing the audio by like
On YouTube,
large
eh?
margin. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, so well, actually, the Facebook, YouTube one's too early to tell.
Yeah,
Gonna figure
yeah,
that
yeah.
out. But the Facebook stuff, people seem to really, really enjoy being able to just click.
It's
here,
really
there,
convenient. I mean, people
Yeah.
are scrolling through a news feed all day long
All day.
anyways, right? So it's
Yeah.
like video pops up. Oh, I'll check out what Jamie's talking about
That's
today,
right.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I have to make a conscious effort to go on YouTube and check something out.
Yeah.
Like, someone posts something, hey, check out this video.
Too many clicks, man.
Yeah, as soon as it takes you away from the site, you're just like, you're out.
Well,
That's
and what-
the call.
yeah.
The drop off is huge.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
what
a good call.
Facebook's doing is they're going to launch a new thing eventually. They kind of did it similar to how they launched Instagram ads. So you could do ads on Instagram now, and they only gave it to like certain companies to start doing sponsored stories or sponsored posts on Instagram.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those. Yeah.
They're doing a new thing now where you can upload all your content directly to Facebook. So videos will upload immediately. So it's like when you're scrolling through, it'll upload immediately. And they're going to completely deter people from leaving their ecosystem, essentially.
Wow, so it'll be all contained like in a hub.
Well, they don't want people to jump off
Yeah.
of Facebook. They want to keep them on Facebook. So
they
even
own-
with like blog posts, for example, you can put a whole blog post with like videos embedded into it. You can do
okay.
like photos, and then you just click on it, and it all pops up, all ready to go right there.
See, that's pretty slick. Yeah, they own Instagram, right?
Oh, yes.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that makes sense for them to keep it all in the umbrella because that, I mean, again, every time you lose click to another site like YouTube or something like that,
Yeah. Well, they pretty
may not
much
come back.
had to buy Instagram, from what I understand. They had to because
like
people
they
were
were a
uploading all
monster.
their photos from Instagram and
Yeah.
uploading them to Facebook. And they're like, God, we have to buy this thing now.
It's bigger. I mean, for a while there, I don't know. Actually, you talk to young people, you talk to like people like, say 16, 17, 18, something like that. And you ask them like, what's the majority of the social media you use? Like almost none of them use Facebook. They use Facebook for like the very basic, like
Chatting.
Yeah. Like Facebook Messenger is a real big thing.
Interesting.
But a lot of them are like Snapchat guys,
Right.
Instagram. It's very funny because if you go back, you harken back to like, say, like MSN, that kind
Right.
of stuff, right? Like
Sure.
ICQ.
ICQ.
I was just gonna say, yeah, nice.
Dating ourselves.
Yeah,
Remember
ICQ.
Napster?
Napster, of course,
Napster,
right? Yeah.
That was in '98, I think.
When you go back to that in the like peer-to-peer stuff, like your list, your friends list, your contact list, that was very specific to like your thing. Whereas like on Facebook, man, you might have like 5,000 friends, you might know 100 of them, you might actually care about 50 of them, that kind of shit, right?
True.
Whereas like so I think teens coming up are like they've never lived in a world without that. So because they're just inundated with all this social media, it's very difficult for them to separate the
Their digital life from their real life.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's never existed that like that. So I think when they're like gravitating towards like Snapchat or something like that, it's a measure of control. So what allows them to be able to step back for a bit and be like,
All
yeah,
the
I
old
only want
people
these
use
people.
Facebook.
Yeah. What the fuck? All these people on Facebook.
I'm gonna be like an old person just shit all over Snapchat. What the fuck, kids?
Yeah.
Why are you on Snapchat?
Snapchat. Why?
I don't even
So-
know what this is
Get on,
for.
get on Facebook. Stop
don't
sending
get it.
photos of your genitals to each other.
You don't take a video just to delete it. That's stupid.
These kids, they don't know.
Are
what
you
they're
on
doing.
Snapchat?
I am. I'm new to Snapchat. I'm only like 3-4 months into
Oh,
it.
man.
Yeah, I'm pretty new.
Are
Do you have
using it?
Snapchat?
No, I'm scared.
I gotta tell you, the first few weeks were pretty addicting. I get it now. I kind of get it now. Snapchat. The thing I like about it is that I don't know if this makes sense, but the stuff that I wouldn't necessarily capture forever makes its way into Snapchat. So if you use it as like a tool, it can't be your only tool. The way that these guys are using it, where they don't have like other platforms and stuff to post on, like if
So when you step out of the shower, you snap a photo and you send it to somebody. You don't want that on the internet forever.
you just want to, hey, I'm feeling
Hey.
great. Right. Yeah.
Even though it still gets logged into that internet forever.
That's
like
right.
it's still
so
there.
it's
Like
damn.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Zuckerberg.
Don't fool
Snapchat has a
yourself.
probably pretty big data bank of all these weird ass photos.
Terabytes.
Oh,
just
wow.
petabytes. Just insane levels of
Nudity.
nudity that they just have been gathering. Yeah, yeah.
And it's
my
theirs
God.
as soon as you take that photo. It's
I think
theirs.
I think Zuckerberg swims in the gig sticks that it's contained on, like Scrooge McDuck. Like
Probably. Data.
Data, exactly. He's like, cover me in your nudes. Like, just crazy. Yeah, like
man.
I don't know. Like if you use it though, like as a, like just a tool in your tool belt. So the thing I mean is like right now, if we wanted to stream what we're doing right now, like when we're recording this I want to record this for posterity. But when we're just like going beforehand or something like that, we live stream this for a bit, whatever like that. Say we simulcast that to like Periscope and Snapchat. Whoever's there for that moment, you gave them that particular experience. Maybe even touching a little bit on the discussion we were having just earlier with respect to the speaker series, getting that like extra engagement with someone. Like we had how many, like 1 view or something like that on the live thing. If there's 10 views, 100 views or whatever like that, everyone who's like, hey, I was just checking this out. That's like a free shout out that we didn't have to do anything for. And it's just right there.
Well, I think with the live, the Facebook Live feature, it'll be recorded as a video, probably like Periscope, and probably just end up on my news feed like everything else.
It
Yeah,
is.
right? Like, and it'll just be bumped up.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I think if we do this through pages, then you can get sponsored content that way, right? And
I
then
would
it
love
just
to
bumps
do
up.
that on pages because then we can like, I think that'd
That'd
be
be huge. That'd
I'd
be
love
really
to do
huge.
that for pages, for Floathouse and for Vancouver Real.
Yeah, you guys are all over my feed all the time. They're
Are
like,
we?
you must know these guys. And then like they just like pump everything about it. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and thank you for your support, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's huge.
Guys,
Appreciate it.
the day you guys can righteously thank me is I don't even think that'll ever come. We are all much more very grateful to you guys. You guys are
Big time.
Well,
providing.
you guys, it shows. It shows that you actually really care, and you guys are, you guys are like liking all of our stuff, and you're always tagging us in the posts, and this means a lot. Like that means something to me when somebody acknowledges the fact that like we're helping you guys out in some way, and you're just saying, "Hey, thank you for
Big
that."
time. Couldn't do it without you guys. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Truth.
Yeah.
Cool,
And
man.
like even like pulling the curtain back even a little bit more when there was like the hiatus of Intergalactic interviews for a few months there, longtime listeners are like, man, what happened after like episode 70? Like the transition that took place from there was a lot of like, man, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. We have this like listening base, but we don't really know what's going to go next. And when the three of us had met a few times and we'd kind of sorted things out, and by the time we kind of came to this situation, I was like over the moon. I still am. Every time I think about it, it's like pinch me. I'm
cool.
very, very grateful for this.
Yeah, we get a lot of requests to rent out this studio for other podcasts, and we're not taking it anymore. So we're gonna allow you guys and the Juice Truck. Are they still interested? Juice Truck?
Maybe.
Oh, anyways, I mean, we're kind of capping it because, like, we really like you, and I'm sure you guys are cool. I don't know you yet, really. However,
I can vouch for these guys. These guys are specialists.
And yeah, man, I mean, we want to keep it as our little space. And the one thing I like about it, when you guys are here, you always just leave it as it was, and you always like take care of the stuff,
big time.
And that's so important because like if you come in and something's broken or messed up. It's just such a pain.
Did I ever tell you guys this story? This is
pot?
I think Mike knows.
Yeah, you told me.
This is kind
You're
of funny.
freaking out a little bit. I'm like, dude, it's fine.
Okay, so for our listeners,
I didn't know about, obviously. Now we get pissed.
We kept it from Big Papa.
And he's gonna like just jump up. What the fuck? Yeah, this is funny. So like my very first day, I came extra early. I was like, we have the podcast at 8. I'm gonna come in at like 6. Because like when I was doing the show at the last venue, the last spot, it was at least a 2-hour setup. Like I had to do all the mics, I had to do all the checks, I had to get all this stuff, blah blah blah. Everything was just so much more of a setup. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have 2 hours early. So I came here. I was totally by myself, and I was sitting where C-Mart's sitting now, just like on the far end here at the back in the bird's eye view there, and I just came around the table, and I had this like cinematic moment where I'm like, okay, this is the new spot. Let's get comfortable.
Awesome.
And I was like, just don't break anything. And as I said that,
here we go.
I broke this candle or this like flower of this, and
one of the salt candles.
well,
I thought
no,
it was
no,
a potted plant.
It was a potted plant.
Oh.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I was breaking balls here after.
So this will be the last episode of Intergalactic Podcast.
Yeah, 'cause I was like-
at the Vancouver Real studio.
I was holding it after it, and I was like, this was like the fertility plant from like fucking Nicaragua or something like that. You guys,
What kind of sacred meaning did it have?
you guys had carried an extra backpack to like bring back or something like that, some
true.
mystic voyage, and I just broke it, haphazardly. So I was very concerned at first, and then
Yeah, and I remember you called me right away.
yeah,
I'm like,
Mike,
dude, it's
I was like,
completely
Mike,
fine.
I have some serious news for you, and you're like, it's okay, man, don't worry about it. It's
Yeah,
fine. You're like,
stuff
just,
happens.
just a plant. Yeah,
It's
you're
from
very cool
IKEA.
about it.
It's all good.
Yeah, but it was like literally my first 22 seconds in here, like not even. I was like, just
broke
don't break
something.
anything.
Well, you learn from your mistakes, right?
I certainly did.
Yeah.
And now every time anyone goes back there, I'm like, just be very, very concernicus.
Yeah. The room is a little small. It's a little small. Ideally,
It's good size. I like it.
I mean, it's all right.
What, you want it bigger? You want it bigger
Yeah,
It's never good enough, is it?
It's
Andy?
never good enough. It's not. Well, you know what? I'm debating now the whole mic thing. I mean, I like them because it adds a nice kind of showy effect for the street, which is
Yeah.
really cool. However, the like little clip-on mics are really
lapels.
easy.
Yeah, lapel mics are pretty good. The thing about lapel mics is that if you get, say, like they'd be good for you guys. You guys know what you're doing, that kind of stuff. Like if you have a guest on that like is like Mr. McKernan from
Right. Yeah.
the Speaker Series, right? That makes sense to have him on with the lapel mic. He definitely probably rocks some lapel mic on stage or some kind of Steve Jobs-esque headset, right? Like that
Right.
kind of thing. But the thing about that is like you get a guy that maybe hasn't done a lot of media work or something like that, but he's got an interesting story and he's like just rustling all the time. Ooh, as a
Yeah.
producer, I'm just like,
Right.
man, that's
Yeah, this does make it kind of foolproof.
little
However,
bit, yeah.
it doesn't work as well for the video because my face is being blocked right
Yeah.
now by a
that's
giant pop guard.
Is he being blocked right now on that camera?
That's okay. Don't worry. You want to block my
You're a
face.
sharp-looking
I'm-
fella,
I'm,
though.
I'm a podcast worthy.
No.
No, I won't have views
No,
go
we don't
down
want-
because your face wasn't shown.
Well, thank
yeah,
you.
See?
Thank you very much.
Ladies are clicking off.
I was going to
They're
say,
like,
you're going
no.
to see spikes of women just in
That's
your
right.
ratings. It's
Just droves. Yeah.
So what's the theme of your podcast anyways? What is Intergalactic Podcast all about?
Well, okay, so I produce under the name MD, right? And I'm part of this like larger art collective called the Boomsday Alliance, and we make a lot of music in a theatrical space opera kind of sense. And so when I initially started the podcast, Intergalactic Interviews was kind of like an offshoot of that. It made sense. I make like space. Oh, jeez, we're just losing.
It's all good.
See, this is where lapel mics would come into.
That's true.
So basically, yeah. So because I make like space music, essentially, doing intergalactic interviews, that just seemed like a very casual thing. So when I started the show, it was the first like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 episodes were just me doing production diaries. I would just come on for 20, 30 minutes and say like, yeah, I had a great show with this guy and I did this and I'm booked for this next week. Come check this out. And oh yeah, I'm mixing this album and blah, blah, blah. Very, very straightforward stuff. And then it was kind of like, I'm in session with this guy. Hey, do you want to do a show? We're already doing the session. Let's have a podcast as well. And then I didn't want to really label it at the time. And then by like episode 20, it was kind of, it's okay. Now we have guests every week. And then by like episode 40, it was like, okay, now we're like seriously
Established.
building. Yeah. And now I'm like, there's no turning back. Now it has to be this thing. And then, this is episode 83. And, we'd probably be at like episode 120 if we didn't take a hiatus,
Right,
for sure. Yeah, because we do these every week. So
Yeah, you guys are plowing through.
yeah, I mean, how many episodes do you guys have right now?
We're at 69.
69.
Yeah,
Nice.
and we've really upped it since the new year. We've been doing an episode a week as well. Before we were averaging like one every couple weeks.
You guys had
for
like
Vancouver Real, but
you just did it like when you want. Yeah, and for people that are, I don't think we mentioned this yet, but like Vancouver Real podcast, that's what you guys want to be checking out. iTunes, you guys on Stitcher?
iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube.
Yeah.
And then our Facebook page kind of is a good hub for it all as well. It's kind of our most lively hub of where we post a lot of content. Just, I don't know. You post
Current
a lot
events.
of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Another
Current
good
events.
thing about being associated with that type of social media, like it populates first in Google searches. Like Facebook will come up first. You know, YouTube,
Right.
YouTube especially will come up first,
Sure,
being a
yeah.
Google product, right? It's very important to be established that way. You don't get lost in that. And Vancouver Real is like very much on top of that. So
Yeah,
I like
one of the tough ones is iTunes. iTunes, like
Oh my
I think
God.
we're ranked 32 for Vancouver Real. We're ranked number 32 under alternative health and wellness. Like it's just like
Sorry.
So there's like I think there's like
I don't know how to change it.
I think there's health and wellness, which has got like thousands of podcasts.
Yeah.
And then there's like alternative health and wellness, which has probably got a couple hundred minimum. And we're like 32 in that. It's
not bad.
So
That's
it's
not
like
bad.
it's
Not
like
50.
you're just lost in a sea of podcasts, right? And I don't know if you guys have done any research on this one, but you can really launch a podcast the correct way and like have like 4 or 5 episodes like ready to go.
Yeah.
Launch them all very sequentially, like, and they get a bunch of reviews and ratings because there's some kind of grace period on iTunes when the algorithms will
That's
kind
right.
of help your searches.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
new and
Yeah.
the noteworthy. Well,
Right.
what happened with last week? Actually, Mike, you met our guest last week as you're leaving here,
Right.
And her name's Kathleen McGee. Now she has a podcast called Kathleen McGee is a Hot Mess, and she's hilarious. She's like this great comedian. She's worked with like Russell Peters, Ari Shaffir. She's actually pretty tight with Ari Shaffir, and he was her first guest. So
wow.
so Ari was like giving her like basically like the Death Squad pump of
Right.
yeah. So
It's
he
a
was
great launching platform.
right, and we were like, wow, you're getting like information right from the source, and so I guess Ari was telling her like, yeah, exact same thing. You start with like a few episodes ready to go up. You have everyone just like pump it, and this podcast here, Intergalactic Interviews, was so different from that setup. Like we had SoundCloud going pretty well, and what happened was I had my production associated with my SoundCloud account, but I was putting the podcast up on that account. I was like paying for this unlimited account. I was like, makes sense. So what happened was they asked me for SoundCloud. What the fuck is that? Is that a phone?
It's an alarm.
Is it a
Usually
alarm
it's
going
me.
off? Is it?
Not today though. Not today.
It's all good.
Was that you, C-Mart?
Apparently it was.
Yeah.
One of my alarm set.
That's okay. He's a champion.
That's okay.
He is.
It's all
Guess
good.
what? We're
It's ruined.
Let's
start over.
When did you start your podcast?
Would have been the fall of 2013, I think. Yeah, like September. I'm
Fall
gonna
of
say
2013.
12th, 9th, 10th, something like that.
So when you first started, was it kind of like an organic thing? You were just like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. Because it was
Yeah.
different back then. And, like there weren't quite as many as there are now.
That's true. Like that was only 3 years ago. But prior to that, I used to host this show called The Boomcast, and that I didn't. I guess the best way to talk about it is that like C-Mart was actually part of that as well. C-Mart was our fact checker. We would just talk mad shit essentially, and C-Mart would jump in occasionally and be like, actually that has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
You need that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
You totally need that, right? Yeah. So we had this show called The Boomcast, and that was like I had this idea. I was like, okay, I'll host it, and I'll have rotating co-hosts, and the co-hosts will give the different flair each show, and I'll try to match up personalities with the co-host, and that way we always have the best quality product, period. But then it kind of turned from that into like morning radio, and it felt way too much like, and now we're going to go to this next song. Da, da, da. And I was playing like songs in between like 10, 15-minute segments. And so when it came time to like, oh, let's put this on iTunes, obviously iTunes kiboshed that. So I was like, okay, we're not going to do that. Okay, well, I put that show on hiatus for about a year or so. And then I just indefinitely was like, okay, I'm good. If I do this ever again, I'm going to do it solo. And so I did it. I started hosting, like I mentioned, these production diaries, and then from that it came into it's evolved really big. Saavedra's been doing like the last like 10, 11, 12 episodes here. And
Cool.
C-Mart now coming back into the team, like from Boomcast to now, which is really cool.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, it's kind of growing up. How did Vancouver Real get going? Like, what was the...
Do you want to get into that story?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I think we might have talked about this on another show I was a part of, but I'd love for our audience in this show to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. No, so we're big fans, or at least I still am as well, of the Joe Rogan podcast. And
I listened to him today.
yeah.
So
Yeah, pretty good. I listened to the Dice Clay one on the weekend.
Oh,
I
yeah,
did that
that's
one.
good.
That's really Dice. What's in the fucking bowl, bitch? You're just like, all right, he's still Dice.
Rogan's cool. He brings on all his comedian friends and stuff like that. He's his podcast. It's awesome, and so
Big time.
And then he inspired a guy named Brian Rose, and Brian Rose started London Real out of London, England. And he
Smart guy.
because he'd gone on into the podcasting scene pretty early on. Rogan had him on his podcast just because Brian Rose was doing a podcast. That's literally the only reason why he got on the podcast, because Brian Rose was doing a podcast. And so Rogan had Brian Rose on, and while Brian Rose was on Joe Rogan's podcast, he put it out, like, if anyone wants to do another real podcast from your city, you're welcome to do so. He wasn't interested in franchising it out. He was just like, just go do it.
Anyone, yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah.
And so we, as soon as we heard that, I'm like, yeah, why not? That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So we bought the domain VancouverReal.tv, which is kind of like how Brian Rose had LondonReal.tv, so keeping it all kind of similar. And we sat on it for a while just until we had the opportunity to do it. And probably, I guess we started in May 2014, so 2 years next month, which is really cool,
Wow,
actually.
that's cool.
Yeah. We finally had the chance where things settled down with Float House. We were able to kind of get a rhythm going, and we got the equipment and invested in the podcast. So Vancouver Real was born.
That's super cool. And now I saw a few weeks ago, you guys had like a map of all the Real podcast family, right?
Yeah, they're all over now. They're all
many?
over.
Yeah.
How many reels are there?
Yeah, how many?
Oh, there's probably a
I'd
couple
say-
dozen.
I'd say 20 to 30.
Yeah, and so
All
we're the,
over.
like, other than London Real, we're the longest lasting spin-off podcast so far, which is really cool.
Wow, that's really cool.
We've been the most consistent with it, and like actually upping our game, just investing in it with time and energy and some money. We built out this studio now. It's one of the only street level podcasting studios that I've ever seen.
I think this might be the only one in the city. And I don't know about you guys. Yeah, we average about 1 to 2 waves a show.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, we get that.
People love
That's
it.
fun, right?
People walk by and they're waving. It's pretty fun. Yeah, and you get the people that think that you're waving them in. Have you had that?
No, we haven't had that.
Oh, that was good.
Couple times, like
was good.
the wave, and you'll wave and they'll do the Night of the Roxbury thing. They'll be like, me? You want me? I'm like, no, just waving.
hello.
I'm trying to be courteous.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, just like arrow.
So,
Well, that's
yeah,
cool. You guys have had heavy hitters on the show, though, man. You've had, let me work this in my head. Gabe.
Gabor Mate.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know him on a personal
Gabor.
level.
Yeah.
Gabe.
Yeah, he was definitely our biggest guest, most well-known guest, I'd say. We've had a couple other ones, like we had Dave Asprey. Who's some other ones?
Who's,
well, Mark Brand was pretty big.
Mark Brand.
We had him
had,
a couple weeks ago.
Red Dragon there.
Dave Boyce.
Dave Boyce.
Dave Boyce, who runs another podcast called This Boy's Life.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And I think he's doing pretty well with his podcast
He's
as well.
a killer,
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's on
awesome.
Sirius Radio as well.
Yeah. Do you check that out, Mike? Do you listen to that stuff?
No, I haven't. No.
No, you check him out. He's really, really good. I think you like him.
He does a really good job of promoting his podcast. Like he really ties in his real life into the podcast. So his podcast, he doesn't really feature guests. It's all
him,
about
right?
him
Yeah.
and his co-host. So he's kind of just talking about his life experiences, and he'll say what he does is he'll everything he does in his life now becomes content for his podcast. And he's like, how can I spin this little event into something interesting to tell, right? And then he'll Instagram it, and then he'll talk about it on the podcast. So it kind of creates this loop of like people checking in with what he's
Smart,
doing.
man.
Super smart.
That's how you got to do it, man.
Yeah.
Like you are the content provider and creator. Like you're seriously like distributing it all day. It's
pretty crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, and much like him though, he has a bit of a jet-setting life. But you guys are always traveling. I think even when we were trying to set this up, like not this particular episode, but just coming in here, it was like, yeah, can the three of us meet? All right. Well, I'm gonna be in Peru.
Sorry. can't make
Oh,
it.
okay. And I'll be coming back east, but I'll be actually going south. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Stuff, yeah.
we take time whenever we can. That's the nice thing about being in business together, actually, is that we can
Truthfully,
spell each
yeah.
other off, right?
Yeah.
And I know, it's great for him when he's away. He knows that there's somebody here responsible that can look after the place, and vice versa. So I mean, it's kind of it freezes up. If you were doing this business by yourself, oh my God.
Oh.
It would be so much work. It would be a nonstop drain, and we also have 2 other partners as well, and one's an accountant, so he does all of our bookkeeping and
that's
all
nice.
of our
Payroll.
payroll and all of that, which I don't want to do at all. And he takes care of all that stuff. So John, if you listen to this by any chance, like thank you, because
Big
that's
shout out to John, man.
Yeah.
it's such a
Oh, it's just it lets
I
us
mean,
just do the work,
Yeah.
creative
Yeah.
control, do operations, and there's this most talking about Float House now, and it's a huge asset to have as a small business to have a vested partner who's like an accountant.
so
It's
worth it,
huge.
man.
Oh,
To do it by yourself is
Yeah.
so rough. Like my girlfriend Lisa has the chop shop up the street.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, and it's just it's just her. It's just her doing that whole business. So she's got to
That's
do
heavy.
it all. I mean, she has an accountant that helps her with her finance stuff. Other than that, like she's doing all the payroll, she's doing all the scheduling, she's doing all the inventory, she's doing all the ordering, she's cutting hair for
All the
8 hours
marketing.
a day.
Wow.
The marketing. She's like, so it's just do that
Exhausting.
by yourself.
That's
is
super
so
exhausting.
much.
It's
you know?
exhausting just hearing that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Poor Lisa.
So, I mean, it's really cool if you're starting a business to have a team, to have some
Yeah.
people on board with
Well,
you.
that's really important, I think, for people to know it is how well you guys are doing right now. How many locations is Float House at? I know the answer. I just want to hear you guys say it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been amazing. First of all, we opened in May of 2013, just with the 5-tank initial studio of Float House, or Float Center as we call it, and that was the first commercial float center in Vancouver in over 20 years. And so we had to go through a shitload of loopholes and red tape to get that thing even opened and regulated and all that kind of stuff.
Wow, that's a lot of jumping around, man.
But by the end of the
also-
first year, we were able to expand into this part where we have the podcast studio now and added 4 more tanks to Gastown, which is a 9-tank center, which was the largest in the world until we were dethroned a few months ago. And then we also opened
Just
up
float down in LA, bastards.
just
11
float.
tanks.
Yeah.
11, yeah.
And then we opened a 5-tank studio in Kitsilano on West 4th in Cyprus. So
That's right, yeah.
and that was all within 1 year. It just kind of went crazy.
Wow.
And then from there, we had a lot of franchising inquiries. And actually, our first one, it was in Victoria, and our cousin, Eric, ended up franchising in Victoria, and he had his open by the end of that first year as well. So by May of 2014, we had this
locations
expansion,
up,
our location in Kits, and his location opened in Victoria within 1 year.
That's incredible.
Man,
Yeah,
wow,
it was crazy.
that is crazy. That's
Yeah.
huge. That's pushing all the chips in, man. That's
That's
yeah,
basically
awesome.
it.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all in.
Super
And,
awesome. I love it. Yeah.
and then
And then now we have, 2 franchises. And, one's about to open. Langley's about to open up.
Next week,
Fort Langley.
on
That's
Monday.
right. And Langley, man, what a great job. The first Gastown 1, which we call it, the 5 tanks, was kind of the prototype. And there was a lot of issues with that
Beta
side.
version.
Just issues with hot water, tiles falling apart constantly. The rooms were too small. So many things. And
Just working it out.
And now the 5th one in, I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
We got our
dialed.
system.
Looks really
It's
nice.
really dialed. It's the rooms are custom built for the type of tank that we use, and it just works really well. And it's way more well built. I'd say too, way more sturdy. They're not going to have nearly the kind of issues that we have here. Keeping
Yeah.
it together, which is huge.
I mean, upkeep must be pretty intense, right?
Well, we've created, these are aquatic facilities, and then specialized and designed for a very unique experience, the float experience. And so our whole design and a lot of the things in terms of the infrastructure of how the walls are built and insulated, how the doors are built, the door frames, how the HVAC is working, all these are incorporated into the design to maximize the float experience. So that sensory deprivation experience, we literally go as far as we can to putting our tanks on these anti-vibrational pads so that no vibrations come through the ground, and having extra thick walls with super sound dispensing, different types of, it's called quarry, quiet rock drywall. Our HVACs have these diffuser boxes to decrease the flow of the air because it makes this So we decrease that so you don't hear it in the tank. So it's all designed to facilitate the best float experience possible.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? And you know what? The spiel I give at the beginning of this show doesn't really touch on that. And when I'm trying to be like, hey, it is the best experience you could possibly do. Like that's it. Like that's the work
cool
that's
thing
going
is
into it.
You're talking about it from like a customer perspective,
Yeah,
essentially
total
a floater's
consumer.
perspective.
Yeah, total
so
floater,
you
yeah.
get to see like just what the product is essentially,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we know all the ins and outs and the workings of how it all works. So I really liked your introduction. I thought it was great, and
Well-
and I thought on our podcast we should do a better job of promoting float houses, talk it up more. We don't
I know.
It's kind of like we have this kind of thing where it's like we don't want to push our own stuff too much because we don't want to be too
know.
offensive or abrasive. So we're going to do a little quick ad, just a little mention. However, I think we should go a little deeper.
You know what
into
though?
it.
I
Floating's
know,
the shit.
I know
Yeah.
exactly where you're coming from. It's like, I'd say almost what if I was throwing a percentage out there, 90% of the reason anyone even listens to this show from my perspective, for me, prior to maybe Saavedra and C-Mart being involved, would be because I produce either artists they know or the stuff they like my production or something like that. So I feel weird sometimes being like, hey, check it out. It's on there. I mean, it's on intergalacticinterviews.com if you want to check it out. But I don't really like leading with that. So you know what? Maybe it's better to have other people speak for you. Let me brag for you guys. You guys are
Thank
doing
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like we'll go from there. That kind
Well, I was so weird about it at the beginning too that I wouldn't put it on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook, because I had this weird idea of like not using my friends as a way to boost my own stuff.
Weird.
And I felt strange.
It's very
around that.
strange, yeah.
And I kind of had this idea, like with Float House, for example, I don't like posting like Float House sales on my personal Facebook page because it's like I don't want to sell to my friends. You know what I mean? And I kind of had that same attitude with the podcast, and it's like I'm not gonna put it on my stuff. I want it to be found kind of organically and naturally, right?
yeah.
However, now I'm just like, nope, I'm just blasting it
Yeah,
out there.
just put it out
If
there.
you're my friend on Facebook, you're getting Vancouver
That's
Real.
right.
That's part of the deal now.
You know what though? The thing is, and Andy, you touched on that, and that really resonates with me is, because I feel like that sometimes where I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that's at the party and I'm ramming it down your throat. I don't want to be that guy. But the thing is, I find more often than not is at said parties when I go quiet and someone comes up to talk to me, the first thing they talk about is, I think, like for you, they'd be like, oh, let's talk about Float House. Let's talk about the podcast. Let's talk about this. It just becomes that method of thing. So when you start realizing, you're like, oh, people actually do want to know this. It's just my projection of like what I think they want is that it's holding me back.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely holds me back in the past, certainly. And I'm trying to get over that myself a little bit. I'm not quite there
it's
yet.
weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's
Do you
weird.
feel the same way?
Yeah, every week now it's like these people who I only see on occasion. They come up to you and they're just like, "Hey, saw you doing that show, and that room is amazing."
Yeah,
and they're
it was
like,
beautiful,
very,
yeah.
very cool, right?" And I'm like, "I
Yeah.
had no idea you guys were even listening." And they're like,
That's
"Oh, we're
awesome.
listening. We're
It's
watching
fun,
the
eh?
clips. We're
Wow.
watching
Yeah,
everything."
see,
Yeah,
that's-
Sweet.
That's-
It's really cool when it comes back to you in different ways you don't expect. I love that, man.
That's
That's
exactly
the best
it.
part about this. It's
Yes.
the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that, I used to tell clients a lot all the time. I used to say, they maybe they have like, say they do like 500 downloads or something like that, and they wanted to do 1,000 or something. Okay, like so that's your goal. I can appreciate that, but then you got to sit them down and be like, okay, that's 500 downloads. You have no idea whom you're affecting after that. Like your head stops at the number 500 and you think that's it. But it's like, what if one of those people goes to a party and plays it for 200 people, and then
Right.
that guy
Good point.
goes, "That's awesome. Can you just flash that to my phone?" Sure. Boom, boom, and you just and that kind of thing. And the way things spread, or someone just hears that and you don't know, but then like a year later they go to your show and they buy $100 of merch or something like that. Like the way it just proliferates is so much bigger than the human mind can even process.
well,
right? Yeah.
I think you're talking about long game content, right?
Yes, that sounds like exactly the word.
So it's just having that. Yeah, this is stuff that you're putting out there that's going to be seen maybe 3 years down the road.
Yeah.
You never really know, right? And the cool thing is, if somebody discovers you in 3 years and like, oh, that's this cool podcast, Intergalactic, they can go back and listen to how many? 120?
Well, we should
what are
be
you
at
at?
120, but
Oh,
we're at-
sorry, 80?
This is 83.
80
yeah.
episodes. So you
Yeah.
have all this content for them to go and consume if they want to,
Yeah.
or digest right then and there, right? So you don't really know how it's going to pay off in the future.
And also, you don't really know how it's going to affect people. Like, even if you have, let's say, a relatively small audience, you never know what episode or what guest you have on that's going to influence or inspire someone to do something really awesome in their life. You know what I mean? And that alone is like just the fact that we have the ability to produce our own content, produce our own show, and share it with the world, literally.
The world.
Is incredible. It's
true.
You know what I mean?
It's cool.
And
put it out there,
people
it could
get
be-
something out of
yeah.
it. Like, it happens, you know? Like I
one
love
of our
that.
one of our Float House employees, Ruben, actually heard about us through London Real.
Actually, I
when
met
he was
Ruben.
living out there.
Yeah.
And he came to Vancouver and he heard of Float
crazy.
House through Vancouver Real, and now he's working at Float House.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is that right
Yeah.
there. That is the quintessential perfect example of that. Like that is like just put yourself behind that for a second. If like you heard a podcast in the UK, just flip it for a second and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to the UK and I'm going to work at that place and I'm
Right.
going to do my own show or something like that or
He
whatever.
just showed up, and we were hiring, and boom.
Boom.
Yeah,
That's
I really think
crazy.
like podcasts are going to be the future of like these talk show type formats. I think that's going to be the future of podcasts.
Big time.
Yeah, it's
Because
great.
it's so convenient.
It
You
really
know?
is.
You have it on your phone at will whenever you want.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to tune into a radio station or even a TV show for that matter. You can like listen to it at your convenience all the time.
We're still in the wild, wild west of this, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The way I look at it
Totally.
is like there's not, like for instance, it hasn't become mainstream enough so that right now, like in the U.S., a presidential candidate has a podcast.
When they should.
However,
Who was talking about this?
However, oh no,
I think I just
Bernie
heard it on
Sanders,
Rogan.
man.
So did I.
Yeah. Sanders,
so
yeah.
no, this was really cool. First of all, Obama did Mark Maron's podcast, which is
That
pretty
is
cool.
true.
Right.
Now, some people might say that that's after he was in his second term, and I mean, he might not have
Right.
had as much. Like if
But
he did
it's-
that first,
but he
term,
still did
first
it.
month.
Yeah.
So
Which is huge for
true.
podcasts.
That's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's
I'll
this,
give it up. Yeah, for
there's
sure,
this
yeah.
black rapper dude in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's like this hardcore, like kind of rapper gangster kind of guy.
What's his name?
I don't remember his name right now. This is a story that I heard secondhand. So he actually does a podcast out of a barber shop.
Okay.
And he's like very much pro, black rights. And
Are we talking about Killer Mike?
I very well
I
think it's
think
Killer
probably.
Mike.
I love Killer Mike.
Yeah.
He's also in Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
He speaks
anyways,
at
he
Bernie
made
Sanders and shit.
he made a call out, and he's like, Bernie Sanders, I dare you to come on my podcast. Guess what? Bernie Sanders showed up in his barber shop and went with this guy, and like the guy after that had like so much respect for Bernie just for doing that, right? I mean, because Bernie's very egalitarian and very
Big time.
pro people. We'll just say that, and he went out there and weird.
The politician's pro people, and he's
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah, he's unique and radical. It's like really
All people.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
pro all people.
So he showed up on this guy's podcast, and I thought that was really cool.
I think that's super cool.
So where are you, Trudeau?
super cool.
Trudeau, I'm calling you
I
out
know.
right now. We need you
Oh.
on Vancouver Real. Come on, man. I dare you to come on Vancouver Real, Trudeau. We'll talk about this cannabis mess we got going on out here. You say you're going to legalize, it's not legalized. You're still arresting for people for cannabis.
Hey,
Come on.
what's going? Yeah, what's up with that?
I would love to see Trudeau charm versus Zaremba charm in one room. Just see who would
we'll
out-charm
wink at
each
each other.
Yeah.
Hey. What's up, Mr.
Who would
Trudeau?
out-charm?
He'll start unbuttoning his shirt a little bit, going on the grouse grind like he did last time he was here.
Yeah. Did you see him showing his core strength the other day? Did you see that?
Oh,
photo?
I saw that one. He's doing a
What's
yoga
that-
pose.
what's that one called?
I don't know that one.
What's
the one?
It's Peacock.
He
Is that what it is? Yeah.
There's a fancy
was
word name
peacock.
for it.
He
but
was
it's the
definitely
But it's
peacocking.
peacocking. But it's a
Hey,
peacock
look
pose.
at me,
The
girls.
headline I read was like, Trudeau's core strength will make you say namaste. I was like, all right, guys, let's relax.
Hey man, that's awesome. I'm glad he's doing that shit.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool because I don't think
funny.
I don't think Harper has any yoga game.
Harper has Lego hair.
Like I don't think Harper could do 5 push-ups. I'm just gonna throw that out there
No, we can. This thing we can. We'll take cheap shots at Harper all day.
all day, all day.
Oh man.
Yeah. You guys, no, I mean, we were kind of touching on something there for a minute
Oh, what were we talking
with
about?
podcasts going mainstream. and-
Right, yeah. What do you think? What's your take on that?
Well, I think personally, when we get to the point where the Walter Cronkite's-esque, like Peter Mansbridge types, when they're signing off and they're like, "This is Peter Mansbridge from CBC News, Ottawa," and then it kind of goes dead for a second, and they're like, find out more after on our podcast, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like when we get to that level where like Mansbridge takes off the lapel mic and puts on maybe another lapel mic. And then says something like, like, okay, check us out or check out our podcast. What do you think, Mike? What do you think?
A lot of them are already starting with that. Like you can see like a lot of the news anchors and stuff, like it goes right to like download the podcast of this episode. Like it's happening. Like they're slowly starting to
Jay
get
Leno.
into it. Yeah.
Jay Leno, yeah. That's funny. Now that is a
Jay
great
Leno's
example.
Garage.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a podcast?
Yeah.
He's got a few.
That's
I
cool.
mean, like he's got his like YouTube show there. What's that one called? The one he just drives people.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is
He
Jay
literally-
Leno's Garage.
He quite literally just like chooses people with nice vehicles and hangs out with them and drives because he has like 3
something.
It's a lot, yeah, it's a
garages.
lot of them like starting to show just like their particular interests.
Yeah.
It's like an extension of them, but it's not like Jay Leno.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
not the Tonight Show on a podcast.
Totally, like,
it's him talking about cars for
Exactly,
an hour.
because like he doesn't give a fuck about Maroon 5, and he's sitting there
Right.
having to talk to like
Yeah.
Adam Levine about
true.
like, well, let's hear about your new single. It's like
Yeah.
you give a shit, like like that kind of thing. Jerry Seinfeld doing like
two guys
comedians
in
and
cars
getting coffee.
It's actually, I don't
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
it, man.
That,
Yeah.
that show's all right.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
pretty
watch
good.
it.
See, that's the thing where he's
Yeah.
like, you know what? I like getting coffee, and
He
I
had
like
Obama
cars.
on.
He had Obama on.
That's
Yeah.
pretty impressive. Yeah.
Obama is going to go
But
down in history.
They couldn't leave the White House premises. It was pretty funny actually, and they went and had coffee like in the White House and like some staff room in the White House. And
Well, did you
it was
ever?
pretty good. It was
Did you ever
entertaining.
hear Marin talk about what it took just to get him?
Oh, that was amazing.
No.
because
no.
he said he was like they're like if we could set this up with POTUS, the president of the United States, what do you think? What do you think about that? And I guess Marin just stuck to his guns and was like, if we do it, we have to do it at my.
It's in the garage.
It's in the garage,
Right.
just like anyone else. That's the only way I'll do it.
Right.
It's the only way. And they're like, would you come to the White House and do it? He's like, nope, it's the only way. So they had to like clear airspace above his neighborhood. Like, just think about that. Say you live next to Marin, and there's like, I don't know, Black Hawk helicopters and stuff. Like, there's Black Hawk helicopters.
Alex Jones.
Yeah. There's like helicopters floating around, and he said they had like sniper teams that they showed up early and gave all his neighbors badges and stuff like
my God.
patches, like this is the U.S. 151.
The photos
first.
from
Yeah.
his house that day were just amazing.
Just
like
insane.
Secret Service everywhere
They had
along the
to
whole street. It
set
was
up a tent.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that part was crazy. They had to set up like a walk tent,
Right.
like a no visibility tent, so that
They don't know where he is.
That's right. So the cavalcade, what do you call it?
That's so crazy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like just the amount that they're
It's
protecting.
crazy that our
one
world's
human.
at a state where you have to have that level of protection.
like one human.
Well,
Yeah, well,
he
it
is,
is. But I'm just
one of
saying,
the
like,
most influential people in the world. For
Oh,
sure.
I get it,
Like-
but I mean, it's crazy that we have to have that level of protection.
Well, isn't it strange that, like, say you got hired for that job, okay? Like, I know you're elected, but say you get hired for a job, and they sit you down and they say, listen, there's only been like 45 of you ever, okay? Out of that, I think maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 have
Assassinated.
been killed.
Yeah.
Not just like accidentally murdered, but
Right.
like murdered because you
Intentional.
do this job.
Right.
Okay. I mean, that's a crazy. What are the? I don't even know what the fraction is
Oh,
on
that's
that.
like-
1 in
It's like
6.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's pretty crazy. If you did any other job, like when people go to the oil rigs and they work, they slave away up there, and they're like, yeah, like 1 in like 12 people die up here. People are like, wow, it's a dangerous job. So when you're like, man, I don't know, 1 in 6 die if you're the president, that's a pretty savage.
true.
I
It's
don't
true.
know.
Where's his danger pay, right?
And well, not to mention, like the decisions he makes or the United States makes, like he is kind of held accountable for on like a
time.
world scale, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he just becomes a target,
Yeah.
big time. And there's a lot of people that don't like the United States.
Have you seen how much he's aged?
Yeah.
In like the last, I don't know, last 8 years.
Yeah.
It's almost been 8 years exactly, right?
Yeah.
So he's gone from very youthful looking to
Yeah,
like
vibrant,
I don't know. Like
yeah.
what do you think? I would like to hear from you guys. What do you think he knows that we don't know that's causing that kind of stress? Because that's a guy that obviously doesn't float.
No, he
No,
should.
Obama.
Do you think?
man.
Do you think he's ever floated?
If Obama, if you're listening to this, come up to Vancouver.
Come on, we'll
all
sort you out.
We'll get you in a float tank. 90 minutes. You'll feel great afterwards.
You want me to come up to socialist Vancouver? I don't know.
I heard you have a lot of marijuana there.
Marijuana. I in Chicago, Michelle asked me not to smoke the marijuana, so I didn't.
That's pretty good.
That's not
I like that.
Yeah, good accent. Stress-wise, who knows?
Well, yeah. What does he know?
I think he knows launch codes.
Man.
Oh God.
He just knows. He knows what the fuck's going on. That's the thing. He knows what's happening.
Like,
he
they sit you
knows
down.
who's controlling what, who's influencing what. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe he doesn't know, and it's just like, fuck. I'm like the most powerful man in the world, and this shit's out of control.
That's a good call. Yeah, maybe it's the idea that he knows everything, but he really doesn't. Like, he's just winging it. And I bet
he's a guy.
Crazy monkeys just populating the earth like crazy.
Like,
yeah, he's working a job that's impossible to prepare for.
That's true.
There's no prerequisite to be like, oh, okay, you'll be a good president one day because you can manage the entire country.
This is what you're going to do every day.
He was
because
he was a senator first, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So he's a senator. So he had like some kind of governing responsibilities, but like nothing like that. Like that's pretty crazy. Like he wasn't a governor. He wasn't
It's absurd to think that one person can take on all of that responsibility, and then it's like he's the guy who's in charge.
I think Rogan has the great idea there where he said it should all just be internet based. It should all just be a vote. Like we should have like all of a sudden we'll all get notifications that says should marijuana be legal? Okay. Yes. Oh, the yays have it. Okay, cool. By tomorrow we'll have legislation. And that's how it should be. Like if all of a sudden we're getting. And that's how you can abstain your vote as well. Because if you're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable doing that, boom, then you just don't vote. That's how it is. You don't have cell service or whatever.
It's true. I mean, there's definitely is enough internet security technology to do that kind of stuff, for sure.
I'm just worried about,
the security's there now. It's just the people who set that up. Can they be trusted? But now here's the thing. This is where technology like Bitcoin comes in, because you don't need to rely on a human being for the trust.
Yeah, it's regulate,
Yeah, so that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is not just the Bitcoin of cryptocurrency. The beauty of Bitcoin is the blockchain technology behind Bitcoin, which will make a lot of things obsolete that are like really expensive today. Things like legal contracts and wills and deeds to house, all that kind of stuff. All those things that take all this like kind of paper processing and professionals to like legitimize, like, yes, you can trust this lawyer because he swears under oath. And that stuff's gone. It's all gone. Immediately. It's gone just with like yes and no and like little codes and back and forth with your phone. Done.
You're right. And you know what? Float House is one of the first businesses I ever walked into that I was like, oh, they accept Bitcoin. That is crazy. That's pretty awesome.
We don't get a lot of it.
No. Unfortunately, it's
growing. It's growing.
It's more of like, I think it's almost like a branding element. Like this is what we're about. It's a
political statement,
kind of
super
political statement in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more what it is, I'd say.
Yeah, it's definitely not a revenue generator. No. But if you have Bitcoin, hey, come on, float. I'd love to get Bitcoin.
Yeah. That's right. Because it is a huge statement. I mean, you're in Canada, and you're like, we also don't accept Canadian currency. If you don't have it, we accept cryptocurrency. That's right, yeah.
And then we go out of business because no one does.
We only accept Google Wallet or something like that. You're like, really? Okay.
That's
a very interesting choice.
Not yet.
Yeah,
but the technology that's there, though, like, it's incredible. It is very revolutionary. For sure.
Definitely.
In terms of like equalizing the platform. And basically what it does is it decentralizes money. Much like the internet decentralized information and allows us to do this podcast and everyone to put anything on the internet. Basically, Bitcoin is the internet of money and a decentralized currency. It took the power away from like the Federal Reserve.
That's a great way of saying that. It's the internet of money.
Yeah, I can't take credit for it. The guy named the best guy on this. No.
I was about to shower you with so much credit.
Is Andreas Antonopoulos. No, that's a mouthful, but Andreas Antonopoulos. He's been on Rogan several times. Go to the first time he was on Rogan and he breaks it down. And then the second time he's on Rogan, he breaks it down even more. And then when he's on London Real, he breaks it down even more. Like, you got to listen to this guy because it is fascinating shit. And it is like even if it doesn't work, just the idea that the big picture and the eureka moment behind the technology of Bitcoin is it's really inspiring. It's like, fuck yeah, think outside the box because that's how shit can change.
Yeah.
That's exactly like I saw the article, was it today or yesterday, about the people lining up for
Teslas.
For Teslas,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Dude, that's great. Well,
that's
that
super
that
cool.
is a game changer. That idea. Right
that's
there.
thinking outside the box, big time.
Did you guys watch or listen to the launch of the Model 3?
I did, yes.
It was so cool. Like he went through the whole plan, the 4 stages. Like first we do the Roadster car, the super low volume but super high price one, so we can fund the Model S. And then the Model S is like medium priced, medium volume.
So smart.
So it could fund the Model 3, which is the high volume, cheaper one. Like without those people buying those ones, they use that capital to be able to produce the Model 3 at the volume, and the cheapness of it is for the technology they need to create these cars.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, that's awesome. It's
so
beautiful.
cool. And you know what? That exact model you just described is so cool because, you know, I mean, this will dishearten anyone when you look at like comments from anything, right? Because it's always like, you know, just someone trying to get a cheap laugh or someone who's like very maybe narrow-minded and negative. People that are like, look at these idiots lining up, putting $1,000 down for a vehicle that's not even invented yet or something like that. And
I
you're
think
like,
it's awesome.
And you're like, actually, if you could go back and give Henry Ford like $100 and be like, you're gonna build a car, I'll take it. I think it's gonna be big, you know, like
The automobile.
Yeah.
What is this? These fools moving away from horses.
These
and buggies.
horseless carriages,
Oh,
they
it's
won't
stupid.
last.
Won't
They'll
last.
never make it.
Yeah. That's why we still measure engines in horsepower. You know, it's like so stupid, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
You know what's funny is because we're talking about like politicians and just men of the people essentially. But you know what? Elon Musk, I could see that guy. I mean, he's foreign born. I don't think he could ever be president, right? I don't think he could be.
I don't know. I guess technically not, according to their rules. But
the thing I liked about, because you said, "Oh, did you watch the broadcast?" Yeah, you know what I liked? I don't know if you saw any of this stuff, but he was like in the line, shaking hands with people, carrying around a tablet, showing people in the line that are waiting to get in. He's showing them like, "Hey, this is going to be a new feature on this. Oh, do you like this? Is this why you're buying? Okay, well, this is why." You know, he's sitting there, giving his time freely to the people. He's not like, you know, I don't know,
he probably would never want to lead the country though, because that's not what he's good at, man. He's an inventor.
True.
You know, he's like Thomas Edison, but crazier. The
Yeah.
stuff he's doing, like, man, he's sending people to Mars. He's building rockets.
he's literally Tesla. I know that, like,
Yeah.
that's the. Like
well,
that-
did you guys see they successfully what they're trying to do is make
that one's nuts.
space
Yeah.
travel cheap.
Yeah.
And so what they've done is they're designing these rockets to launch out their satellites and stuff.
Space
But
X? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so
this is the
SpaceX
company.
Yeah.
And so what they've done is to decrease the cost of space travel and like launching stuff into space, they had to make a reusable rocket. Because
Like,
once
yeah.
NASA's like once the rocket's gone, it's one big firecracker basically, and it blows up and it launches into space. So they created a rocket where it would literally launch into space, eject the satellite, and then land itself. And it's literally like a pencil landing. And they did it. They fucking
finally
landed
did it, yeah.
Dude, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean,
that video was nuts.
Yeah, I saw a few of those the failure launches.
Right.
And I was like, man, like it's crazy because people that are like listening at home, maybe you don't know this, but like when you're setting up a launch like that, the conditions have to be just so.
Right.
And when you fail, I mean, that's like hundreds plus million, 200 million just out the window, just
Maybe
gone.
more.
Maybe more. Like we're probably just spitballing that. The landing though, when they stuck it, it was like,
Dude.
it was
Oh, they
100.
were exploding.
That was
like
like-
they won the Super Bowl or something.
It was like 100
on
Olympics.
steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. It was 100 Olympics.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
roar
like,
was
what?
it gave me a rush just watching.
Yeah.
It was like, holy
We're like,
shit.
whoa, we can do this. This is going to be in our lifetime. This is
Right.
going to be super cool. You know what I was thinking was like, we're going to live in the era. I was talking about, I forget who we had on the show talking about this, but I was like, we're going to live in the era where we're going to see a human not born on Earth. We're going to see a human born on another planet, an actual Martian, like a Martian because you were born on Mars, that kind of thing. We're going to see that.
A
We're gonna
Martian birth certificate.
a Martian, yeah, you'll be like the
Raddest
property
birth
of
certificate
Mars.
ever.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see the eventual divide of provinces and possibly states on
That-
another planet.
Or
That-
possibly won't be born. They'll be growing on another
Grown.
planet. Genetically growing human beings in like some kind of weird goo.
Pod.
And these humans that start growing and start populating Mars.
and they'll be watered, yeah, hydrated to peak.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
No, it's yeah, man. No, we live in super interesting times. And
it is pretty crazy.
Like I feel like the rate of change is just accelerating because of things like the internet and.
Well, like the last thing that came
everything
out today, did you guys, it kind of, I saw it on the newsfeed early, like 7 a.m. It was about the Panama Papers. Is that what it was? Is that the thing? It was like the Panama documents. Another Edward Snowden launch.
I'm so glad you brought that up. You know what? We could have easily dedicated a huge part of the show to that. And you know what's funny is all I know about this, I only know fringe details. But Andy brought this up. He's a good point. But basically, there's been a data leak of how many? Do you know how many terabytes?
I want to say like 2.6 terabytes. Or
something like which is for documents is insane.
Right.
It's like, no, it works out to be 11 plus million documents.
11 million, right? 11.5 million or something.
Yeah.
Basically, though, whoever broke this initially, the initial deal, when they were approached with it, they realized, oh my God, this is so incriminating that it's going to get buried. So they created a network of news organizations, and I think there's something like 100 plus news organizations dropped released it today, which is huge. And so, like, if you're hearing about this for the first time right now, I would definitely check where you get your news, because that's a significant sign that you're being suppressed.
The Panama Papers?
I think it's let's look this up real quick. It is called the Panama. The thing I saw when I saw it,
posted it today.
I saw it on Reddit. It had like 12,000 upvotes or something like that, which is huge. I think when Obama was on Reddit, it was like 9,000 upvotes or something. So let me just look this up real quick here. Utilize the
interweb.
The interweb.
Utilize, optimize, strategize, capitalize.
Feel free to banter amongst yourselves, gentlemen.
Yeah. So, Mike, you have to have an epic beard to be a co-host on the show. Is that what it is?
I think it might be.
I see Jamie's, but
Panama Papers, right?
It is Panama Papers.
Yeah.
Good chat. Good chat with you, Mike.
That summarizes all of it up right there. He's like, yeah.
The crazy thing is,
Thanks for your time.
it's happening right now. I posted this video of a huge protest happening in Iceland because the Icelandic prime minister was implicated with some kind of offshore money, something, and it led to potentially the financial crisis that they had in 2008, which was a precursor to the one that happened in North America.
And they prosecuted all those bankers to do that. They're one of the few countries to actually bring
they didn't do that here.
Right.
However, now there's a huge protest going on in Iceland because the prime minister is now involved with that somehow. And think about that. That dropped today, and now there's like thousands of people marching against him.
I don't know how to pronounce. How do you pronounce their capital?
I don't know.
I have to see it.
Reykjavik? Is that how you say it?
Smart.
Yeah. He is smart, this guy. Thousands of protesters gathered in Iceland's capital of Reykjavik to demand the ouster of that nation's leader over revelations of his offshore holdings. Riot police stood nearby, but the police remained peaceful. Now, that's obviously fallout from what we're talking about. But what's really crazy is the names that are leaked involved in this are just like, we're talking thousands of I think that Mike would know this, that crazy Gretzky soccer player,
Lionel Messi.
Which one would you say?
Lionel Messi.
Messi. That he's in this league, and so I guess he's got whoever's managing his funds and accounts.
Well, I mean, he was tried for tax cheating in Spain.
Wow,
a year ago.
This is gonna suck for him. Yeah.
See, that's
$65 billion in back taxes.
Everyone except Putin apparently is named, and so everyone's saying, "Ooh, Snowden. Snowden knows how to keep people at bay.
Snowden knows how to stay alive."
Yeah, because he's still in asylum in Russia?
I think so.
So apparently he named a bunch of Putin's best friends though. So we're gonna.
Wow.
Is he really behind this? Is Snowden behind this leak?
That's what I saw online on the internet. So
on the
100% sure.
Yeah, on the truthful internet.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
The internet never lies.
Yeah, how crazy is that though? I mean, it seems like if you do something bad these days, you're gonna get exposed. It's just inevitable,
It's hard to keep things secret. It's hard to hide the darkness, so to speak, because there's just too many tools readily available, and there's honestly, the more technology advances, it's not just that technology advances, but the time it frees up for humans to think, really, that is really what the killer is for the secrets, because it lets someone who sit down and go, Why is marijuana illegal? Is it because, this Mr. Hearst guy had a bunch of paper mills that went against
hemp production? Yeah.
Exactly. Is it that? Was that William Randolph Hearst? Is that his name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it that, or is it because it's an evil drug and we should all stay away from it? And it's like, well, technology has freed us from the ability to discuss that a little bit, and now it's more of a popular opinion. And I think that's what happens with this stuff. All of a sudden, people are like, how do these people always have money no matter what, despite the fact that every single crisis still affects them, but doesn't really affect them the way it affects us? How is that happens? And someone figures out a leak like this.
Yeah, personal privacy is just going away completely.
Big time.
There's a whole thing, too. It's an agreement called the Pan America... Oh, man, what is it called? It's a new one. That's a huge privacy concern issue. It's some new...
I know, Chuck.
What's that one called?
That's the Pan-Pacific Trade Agreement.
Trade Agreement.
That's it, yeah.
That one people are really worried about because it's
super
apparently it completely smashes privacy and
What smashes privacy and almost maybe more relevant to us, even though we all enjoy our privacy, more relevant to us as content creators and distributors. It really removes a lot of the protections we enjoy in North America with respect to trademarks and copyrights. Because right now, one of the craziest things is if you invent the next great Android or iPhone or whatever, the one of the biggest flaws with that in having that come out of North America is that you could be goddamn sure within a few weeks, if that, there will be a knockoff version of this being sold in Asia, and it will be priced lower than you, and they will outprice you, but with your own idea, and they will not be held accountable for it. So this deal is coming into place under the guise of we're going to hold these people accountable for these trademarks and things like that. But it's Orwellian doublespeak, where it's actually what it's doing is removing our protections, and it's going to push us into a maybe bleaker creative future, unfortunately.
No, that's true. I mean, we don't really know where it's going to go, but like you're saying, I'm not sure if you said it on the Microcap podcast we just did or now, about how the internet can be this...
it's a double-edged sword, really. It can be used for liberating, or also can be used to really suppress people too, right?
What's that saying? The hand, it's like art of war shit. It's the hand gives a flower and also strikes.
I think that's exactly.
I like that. It's very poetic.
I don't know where I heard that one. Maybe Michael Scott. From The Office. Michael Scott from The Office said that.
That's why we got to wake people up, man. We got to wake people up. That's what's going on, man. We got to
empower people.
Yeah, empower people. And if you live that kind of really honest life, and if you really don't have anything to hide, it doesn't really matter.
It's true.
I mean, the truth is, people are going to nitpick and they're going to find holes in whatever you're doing. And they're going to blame you. So really, what it comes down to is being in integrity with yourself. Being I'm okay with what I'm doing. For example, I still smoke cannabis. I use cannabis from time to time, and it's illegal. And some people would frown at it because, you're breaking the law. Well, I'm actually okay with breaking that law.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it really comes down to that. I think
you're
being
right.
Okay with yourself and
personal balance.
Yeah. And to do that, you need to set up your own personal ethos, your values. What do you value? And question why you value something. Do you value it because your parents valued it? Do you value it because the movies that you watched and enjoyed valued this sort of characteristic or whatever? Or is it just something you value because it feels right to you? And knowing that part of yourself and developing that knowingness and evolving that knowingness of yourself is, I think, where it starts. You need to kind of understand, what do I care about? What's important to me? What do I believe in? And then living in congruency with that all the time. Not only when you're Instagramming and Facebooking and talking to people you don't really know. Are you doing it when no one's looking? Are you doing it when you're by yourself? Are you doing it in your own mind?
Character. It comes down to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
I totally agree with that. That was well said, by the way.
Thank you.
That was really well said. You know what, guys?
This flow.
You guys are fantastic, but you know what? I don't want to take more time from you than we could possibly take.
No worries.
I'll tell you this. So if you guys are in the area in Vancouver, you want to check out something really, really, really cool, something that we all swear by, you want to check out the Vancouver Real Speaker Series presents Philip McKernan. He's really talented, very, very smart, self-help guru, and Guru.
Guru.
I don't know what I'm saying.
The gangster way of
Close
saying it.
enough.
The Guru.
It's going to be at the Beaumont Studios. How can people get tickets to that, guys?
There's a link on the Facebook page, so it goes through Eventbrite. So you can pick them up right there.
I'll throw links on this episode.
Vancouver
Check
Real.
it out.
Awesome.
And
When do you launch it, by the way?
this will come out Friday. I've actually been toying around with the idea. I don't even talk to the boys here yet. I don't even know what they think, but I've been toying around with the idea now that we just launched on YouTube, doing full episodes. I've been thinking about like maybe we just put the audio up like tonight, tomorrow, or like whenever it's done. Because I had an established day because that's what was told. That's what I read. It was like, oh, you want to have a specific day because that gets the people coming back, and that's how you build the thing. But now I'm thinking like maybe I'll just put it up whenever,
Throw it up,
right?
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens from there.
Right.
But I don't know. How can people follow Vancouver Real if they want to check it out?
Well, we're on the usual: Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher. We're on all those.
Soon to be on
Instagram.
Snapchat, of course.
Oh man, that scares me. Told you.
Too many. Instagram, we don't really use Instagram. Twitter, we don't really use Twitter. So you can find us on there. And we got a website, www.vancouverreal.tv.
That's the main one. You want to make sure everything comes back to the hub, vancouverreal.tv.
That's it.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys check out floathouse.ca. Andy and Mike Zaremba. These guys are fucking wizards.
Thanks, Jamie.
Pure
Appreciate it,
wizards.
brother.
Love these guys. Good friends, good guys. If you want to follow Michael Saavedra, how can you follow him?
You can follow me at the Saavedra on Twitter.
It's a good one. I like that. And we're just going to do this one here. Just going to ask him offhand, just running a little gag here. C-Mart, how can people, no? People can't, no?
Snapchat?
Perfect.
I think,
You look
yeah,
at Snapchat
Snapchat.
every
Yeah, you
guy.
look like you're on Snapchat a little bit.
Can we write you a letter?
All right. All right. Yeah.
There you go.
C-Mart once famously said.
Just give his phone number out. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you can find him at 778. Yeah. C-Mart once famously said, "Don't bother." When we asked him, like, how can people follow you? He's like, "Don't bother. It's not worth
man.
it." Yeah. So.
It's because you don't have it, or because you just don't.
He's just a humble guy, I think. He's a humble guy.
similar.
And you know what? We can go ahead and if you guys want to follow our podcast, if you're already listening, you like this episode, maybe you listen to Vancouver Real all the time and you checked out this show. Maybe you're just listening randomly. Somehow you ended up here because you tried to search Beastie Boys and you're like, what? Intergalactic? What? Maybe you want to listen to this show. It's called Intergalactic Interviews, and you can follow us. We're now on Instagram, Intergalactic Interviews, all one word, intergalacticinterviews.com. You can follow me, MD. I'm at MD_Boomsday. That's on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Andy, Mike, you guys want to say goodbye to the folks?
Thanks for listening today.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thanks for having us on.
Yay.
It was fun.
Yeah, we did it. Thanks
All
for
the best to you.
Thanks for letting us cook you a meal in your own kitchen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Delicious.
It was delicious.
Yeah,
I'm full.
fantastic.
Yeah, and come in for a float sometime, people. Come in
Yeah,
for a float.
check it out. It's
Come
really
check
cool.
it out. Make sure you check out the Float House podcast promo. You check that out. I podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Okay, we'll see you guys all next week. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Boom.